At the end of last year, a flower farm worker in Naivasha was standing in front of a vegetable stall. She was a mother of 3. She had just picked up a bunch of Sukuma wiki. She put it back. According to reporting by the Standard newspaper in January 2026, she said this: "The price of Sukuma is touching 100 shillings. How is an ordinary person supposed to eat?" Her name was Margaret, and what she was feeling at that moment was not just a bad week or a bad month. It was the beginning of something much bigger. Because right now, before El Niño has even peaked, 4.1 million Kenyans are facing acute food insecurity. And the rains that could make everything worse are 3 months away. Before we talk about El Niño, we need to talk about where Kenya already is. Because the food crisis arriving with El Niño will not land on an empty table. It will land on a table that is already struggling. According to data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, food and non-alcoholic beverages recorded annual inflation of 9.4% in May 2026, making food the single largest driver of Kenya's rising cost of living. Let us put that in numbers you can feel. A 2-kilogram packet of sifted maize flour, the Unga that feeds millions of Kenyan households, was retailing at up to 167 shillings as recently as July 2026. A litre of cooking oil, 358 shillings. A kilo of Sukuma wiki, over 114 shillings. A kilo of tomatoes, 117 shillings. For a family buying 4 packets of maize flour every month, the annual increase alone adds up to nearly 1,200 shillings more than they were paying 2 years ago. This is not a statistic. This is the difference between eating dinner and not eating dinner. And for those living in Kenya's arid and semi-arid counties, Turkana, Marsabit, Wajir, Garissa, Mandera, the situation is already at emergency level. According to the latest report from the Famine Early Warning Systems Network, known as FuseNet, published in MID 2026, crisis-level food insecurity is expected to persist in pastoral areas through September 2026, even with this year's rains performing above average. Why? Because the livestock herds that communities depend on for milk, meat, and income are still depleted from the droughts of recent years. Even when the rain comes, recovery takes time. Time that El Niño may not give them. Most people think about food and weather separately. Rain is for farmers. Prices are for economists. But they are the same story. Let us trace how El Niño turns weather into the price of what is on your plate tonight. Step 1. The farm. When floods hit, crops are destroyed. When drought hits before the floods, the soil is too hard to plant in time. Either way, production drops. According to the World Food Programme, writing in June 2026 ahead of the coming El Niño, previous El Niño events have demonstrated their ability to disrupt rainfall patterns, amplify extreme weather events, and cause lasting damage to the livelihoods of already vulnerable populations. During the 2015-2016 El Niño, which is considered weaker than what is now being forecast, around 60 million people globally faced food insecurity as a direct result. Step 2. The roads. When floods come, roads wash away. Supply trucks cannot reach markets. Goods pile up on one side of a broken bridge while shops sit empty on the other. In March 2026, Nairobi itself experienced this. According to FuseNet, flash floods caused widespread disruption, killing over 100 people and affecting 68,000 residents. Infrastructure damage disrupted supply chains that feed the city's millions. Step 3. The prices. When supply drops and roads are cut, the price of everything that was already expensive goes up again. And step 4. The one nobody plans for, the fertilizer. According to the World Bank, writing in May 2026, fertilizer prices are projected to rise 31% on average in 2026, reaching their worst affordability levels since 2022. Kenya imports most of its fertilizer. Farmers who can no longer afford to plant properly produce less. Less production means higher prices. Higher prices mean emptier plates. But again, let us come back to people. Not percentages. People. The Daily Nation, reporting in June 2026, documented families across Kenya already navigating what it called persistently high food prices. A chapati vendor in Nairobi, a man trying to make a living from flour, oil, and fire, described how he had been forced to change his entire operation. He used to make 25 chapatis from one bundle of wheat flour. Now he stretches the same amount to make 35. His customers notice. They complain. But what choice does he have? A grocery shop owner, also in Nairobi, told reporters she had been forced to cut down to one meal a day herself. Tea without milk in the morning. No lunch, only dinner, so that she could save enough to keep her small shop running. One meal a day. A business owner, in the capital city of Kenya, in 2026. In the pastoral counties, the ones furthest from the supply chains, the ones with the least buffer, the picture is even starker. FuseNet, one of the most respected food security monitoring bodies in the world, reported in MID 2026 that households in areas like Turkana, Wajir, and Marsabit are already reducing spending on health and veterinary services just to be able to eat. When a family has to choose between taking a sick child to a clinic and buying food, that is not a personal failure. That is what a food crisis looks like at the household level. What El Niño adds to an already broken system. So, 4.1 million Kenyans already hungry. Food inflation already at 9.4%. Livestock herds still recovering from drought. Fertilizer becoming unaffordable. Roads still damaged from March's floods. And now, El Niño. Kenya's meteorological department warned in July 2026 that above-average rainfall is likely across most of the country during October and November, the worst signal expected in those 2 months specifically. The UN's Food and Agriculture Organization and the World Food Programme have jointly identified Kenya as one of 22 African countries facing a high risk of climate shocks linked to El Niño between late 2026 and early 2027. The UN's Emergency Relief Coordinator, quoted in the Star Kenya in July 2026, put it plainly. He said, and I am paraphrasing, that this El Niño comes on top of rising food and fuel prices that are already squeezing the most vulnerable families. And that the forecasts are clear. This one looks even worse than the last. When the October rains arrive, and they will fall on fields that haven't fully recovered, travel on roads that haven't been fully repaired, and be felt by families that haven't had enough to eat since last year. And here is the detail that should concern every Kenyan, regardless of where they live or what they earn. The 2026 El Niño, according to NOAA, the United States National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, is being tracked as potentially matching or exceeding the 1997 event. In 1997, maize production in Kenya collapsed. Food prices spiked across the country. The government of the day scrambled for emergency imports. We have been here before. We know what happens. The question, the same question we asked in episode 1, is what we do differently this time. This channel does not exist to frighten you. It exists to inform you. And the truth is, there are things that can reduce the damage. The World Food Programme noted in June 2026 that because El Niño can be forecast in advance, action can be taken before the worst impacts hit. Their analysis found that every $1 invested in early action can generate up to $7 in avoided losses. In other words, preparation is not expensive. Doing nothing is expensive. The Kenyan government has taken some steps. Nairobi has set aside 47 billion shillings for a flood resilience program, improving drainage, creating early warning systems, and strengthening infrastructure. A cabinet committee has been formed specifically to coordinate the national El Niño response. Farmers are being issued with advisories on how to protect crops and livestock. These are the right moves. Whether they will be enough, and whether the lessons of 2023 and 2024 have truly been learned, will become clear in October. At the individual level, if you live in a flood-prone area, now is the time to know your evacuation point. If you are a farmer, listen to KenyaMet's advisories for your county. If you have storage space, build your food reserves before October. Not because panic is useful, but because information is. And that is exactly why this channel exists. Margaret, the flower farm worker in Naivasha who put back the Sukuma wiki because the price was too high, did not make the decision she made because she is poor. She made it because a system that should protect her has not been adequately prepared for the climate that now exists. The food on our tables is connected to rain patterns thousands of kilometers away. It is connected to fertilizer prices driven by wars in Europe. It is connected to roads that flood and bridges that break and crops that fail in counties we have never visited. Climate change is not a future problem. It is the reason Margaret put back the Sukuma wiki. This channel will keep following this story, through October, through the rains, through whatever El Niño brings. Subscribe so you are not caught off guard. Share this video with someone who is still wondering why their food budget keeps disappearing. And in the comments, tell us, which food items have you noticed getting more expensive in your area? We want to know what you are seeing on the ground. Next video, climate whiplash, why Kenya goes from drought to flood without warning, and what science says about our future. Next, climate whiplash, from drought to flood. Why Kenya can't catch a break.